Hello, you're watching Much Ado About Something, and I'm Donna. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've been around for a while, welcome back. Well, I'm going to hang around the house today and show you what's going on and bring you along with me. Now, here it's about the first week of March, and this is what it looks like outside the first week of March around here. It is a cold and kind of gray and rainy day. It rained most of the night, but you'll never hear me complain about the rain because without the rain, you'd be in a drought. And it's a whole lot easier to manage too much rain than it is to try to do anything without water. So I'm always thankful for the rain. Now you can see what's blooming around here. It's about over for the daffodils in my garden. And look at, we've got some beautiful tulips that are popping up. And they are beautiful. I wish that I had more. Every year I always wish that I planted more tulips. But this is all that I have, but I am very excited to see them. I love the color of them. There's a lot blooming out here. I'm not going to show you too much about the garden today. Mainly what I wanted to do was just show you what kind of day we're having so I can explain to you some of the things that goes on a day like this around here. Now my grandchildren are here today. There's a teacher's work day, and so they're here from school, and you're going to hear some noise in the background, but that's not unusual around here. I usually have my grandchildren here, but I just wanted to let you know so you would be ready for that. Now there are three things that are sure to go on around here on a cloudy or cold day like today. And that first thing is tea. Now I've made a cup of tea here and I have it steeping. And I have green tea and I have some peach tea with black pekoe in it. Now the green tea was just a tea bag. And the peach tea I had to put in a diffuser. It was loose leaf tea. And so I have that right here. And this is my morning cup of tea. Now, what I'm doing to make this cup of tea special this morning is I'm adding some vanilla sugar. Now, this vanilla sugar I've had this vanilla beans in here for a while, and I just get 1 teaspoon of sugar a day. If you've been watching my channel, then you know that I'm cutting out most sugar. In fact, I cut all sugar out for a while. And now I just allow myself 1 teaspoon of sugar for my tea in the mornings. Well, if I'm going to have sugar and it's going to only be 1 teaspoon, I wanted my sugar to be really special. And I've made vanilla sugar for years. And today I'm going to show you how to make vanilla sugar. I've got a clean quart jar here with some kind of lid. I'm going to use this lid from Ball that I can pull on and off easily. I'm going to go over here to my spice shelves and I'm going to get this whole vanilla beans. And I'm going to show you how to make this vanilla sugar. Now I use this vanilla sugar for a lot of different things, not only to go in my drinks or to flavor things, but also to go on top of cookies when I'm making cookies. I'm going to take out one of these vanilla beans. I ordered these vanilla beans off of Amazon. And they're not very big beans. You can see they're just the smaller beans. And that's perfectly good for what we're going to use them for here. Now I keep my vanilla beans stored back in the plastic. I get out as much air as I can and close these up. And then I put them in this amber jar and keep it on my spice shelf. And that's how I store my vanilla beans. And I'll show you some other things later in videos to do with your vanilla beans. But today we'll just be making the vanilla sugar. Now I've got this quart jar and the lid that goes on it. You can use any kind of lid you want. There's a variety of lids that fit on these quart jars. This is made by Ball, and I like it because it's wood and silicone, and it has an airtight seal, so I thought it would help in storing this vanilla sugar and keeping it for quite a while. Well, I've got sugar here, just pure cane sugar. You can use any kind of sugar that you prefer. And I'm going to put in about a quarter of this jar. I'm just going to put a quarter of it full of sugar. And I'm going to cut my vanilla bean into quarters. I'm going to put 1/4 down. And I'll cut my vanilla bean into the rest of it into quarters. And then I just layer the sugar with the vanilla bean. And then I put my lid onto my sugar. I have to wipe up. I spilled a little bit. But there you go. I've got the vanilla bean layered in here. I cut it in quarters and layered it in here. And this will take about 3 months for the sugar to absorb that vanilla flavor. And I'm going to go ahead and put a sticker on here, a label, so that I'll know what's in this jar. And I'll put this somewhere for it to sit until it absorbs all that good vanilla flavor. And this will be a special sugar whenever I need to use it. And then I just refill this little container as needed. From the cured vanilla sugar with the beans. And that makes my tea, it makes it much more tastier and special. And that 1 teaspoon of sugar that I can have, in a day, it just ups the flavor of it. So that's how you make vanilla sugar. That'll be the first thing that I do usually, is make a cup of tea on a cold day like today. And the second thing that I do is make a pot of stew or a pot of soup. Because whenever it's cloudy like today, you always want to have something warm and comforting to eat. I've got my pot here, and I've got some things that I laid out of the refrigerator, so this hamburger, so it'd be good and unthawed. I've got some potatoes I peeled and put in water that I'm going to add in the soup. I've got an onion over here I'm going to have to cut up and get ready for the soup. Now I've got several avenues I can go with the soup today. I have some chicken that's left over that I've pulled off the bones. I could make chicken noodle soup, or I could make vegetable beef. And I think I'm going to make vegetable beef because that's just what I'm in the mood for. You can make any kind of soup you want on a cold and rainy day, anything that's soothing and comforting to you. So I think I'm going to go ahead and brown this hamburger and go ahead and chop this onion and make a soup base. Look at this beautiful peppermint or spearmint that I harvested the other day in the last video I made about going around looking at the garden and seeing what was ready. I pulled this up and just put it in this water, and it is looking beautiful. What a bright spot on a cold and cloudy day. Well, let's get to making our soup. Now I've got a pot here. It's not my biggest, heavy dutiest pot. It's just a basic stock pot. So I'm going to take this. I've got it on the medium heat there. And I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of bacon grease. I love to season my soups with bacon grease. That's a common thing around here. And while that's heating up, I'm going to go ahead and chop this onion. I'm going to save this onion skin here so I can use it in vegetable broth. It makes a beautiful golden broth. It's a good addition to a lot of dishes that you make later on. My pan is heating up. I've got my seasoning in that pan, which in this case is bacon grease. I'll chop this onion. This is a big onion, but we like onions. We use them a lot in our soups. It's good flavor. It's a good added vegetable. So I don't hesitate to put a lot of onion in my soups. Now I'm going to go ahead and brown my hamburger in my pan before I add my onions. Now this is a little bit more hamburger than I would use, ground hamburger than I would use in my soup, but it's going to be double meaty because I've got this hamburger that I need to use up. I had another dish planned that took more, but decided to do this today when I got up and the weather was the way it was. Now this hamburger was 98% lean, so it's not going to have a lot of anything that needs to be drained off of it. So I'm going to brown it right in this pan that I'm going to make the rest of the soup in. We're going to get the hamburger good and brown before we add the onions. I'm going to go ahead and wash these carrots up, get them chopped up and get them ready to be added, and the potatoes that are draining here while this hamburger is browning. Yeah, while the hamburger is browning, I'm just going to go ahead and chop these onions using the same knife I chopped these carrots, using the same knife I chopped the onions with. I'll just slice these 4 onions up to add into our soup. So we can get about fresh carrots for about $1 a pound here. I usually go ahead and buy carrots this way. Sometimes I can them, and sometimes I just buy them and leave them whole and store them as a root vegetable so that I can use them in recipes, or we can eat them raw. But I usually buy them by the 5-pound bag. It's a good way to get vegetables added into your recipes for your kids, or just in general if you're trying to eat more vegetables. Carrots are a favorite around here, so we eat a lot of carrots. You can chop these up, certainly chop these up smaller if you would like. This is perfectly okay for us. I'm going to check this meat and give it a stir. It's been browning. I'm going to let it brown for just a little bit longer, and then I'll add the onions. Okay, the hamburger's pretty brown, so I'm going to go ahead and add the onions. Just let them cook a little bit longer with the hamburger. Then we'll be adding the rest of the ingredients and some of the seasonings. And we'll go ahead and chop these potatoes up. I think I may just go ahead and dice these potatoes so they'll be small in the soup. Just going to go ahead and dice the onions on the smaller side. I want to say I simmered these onions in this hamburger for about 10 minutes. Over here are all the other ingredients that are going in this soup today. These Hanover butter beans, they're made in the USA. Del Monte is grown and packaged in the USA. And our collard greens here that I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of to, they're grown and packaged in the USA. If it does not say where it's from, then chances are it is not grown or packaged in the USA. So these do not tell me where they are. They tell me they're distributed in the United States, but being distributed is a whole lot different than being grown and harvested and canned in the USA. So usually if a company goes through all the hoops to follow the FDA guidelines and all the food rules and regulations in America, they usually put it on their can. They're usually very proud of that. And so you can look on your can and read it and find out where your food is from. You can see right there it says product of USA. These green beans, and then you can find here it also says product of the USA. It just takes me a minute to find it. Right here it is. Actually, it's on the front. Packed in the USA. Well, maybe it's not a product. It just says it's packed in the USA, so it's no telling where it's from. Let's put it over here. And then, of course, these are grown and packed in South Carolina in the USA, and they've got it proudly right here on their can. So if it matters to you where your food comes from, then be sure to read your labels and know that packed in the USA does not mean the same as raised and packed in the USA. We have different guidelines here, stricter guidelines for safety and other things here in the United States that other countries don't have. But if that matters to you, then be sure to always check your cans. Well, I'm going to go ahead and add the potatoes, the carrots, and my other canned things that I've got here to get this soup going on. And I'm going to need to add some water to this to make enough broth for all these vegetables to cook in. So I'm going to add the tomatoes. The butter beans. My husband loves butter beans. Peas. The green beans. The carrots. The potatoes. And I'm going to add at least one big heaping spoon of these collard greens. Maybe two. Because I love the flavor this adds. And the nutrients that it adds. Well, I've got a lot of vegetables in here. I'm going to have to add some stock or add some water and added stock. Now, one way you can add water to make sure you get all the goodness out of your can is to just run water into the cans of the vegetables that you emptied into your pot. That'll get all the goodness from the sides of your cans. And it'll kind of help with the proportions of vegetables to water. And then I'm just going to add some more water, about a pint, to help with those carrots and those potatoes. Now, stock-wise, you can do a lot of different things. There's this beef flavor stock that's really good. It's from Mexico. You've got this, and this is from Guatemala. These beef bouillon cubes. You can make your own beef stock or vegetable stock and add to your pot. But however you want to get to the broth, there's different ways to make broth for your soup. I just used a mix of those broth flavorings in here since I am out of my own homemade stock, which is what I usually use. We usually make stock and can it at least once a year, and I'm out now. It's time for me to make more stock, bone stock, and can it again. So I just used a mixture. Now for spices, I'm going to add about at least a tablespoon of garlic, minced garlic. It's distributed by Costco, but it's probably shipped from China, this garlic. since China is one of the largest producers of garlic in the world. And then I'm going to add some of this mixed seasoning that I keep on my shelf. It's kind of a chef's mix. I'm going to add some salt. Pepper. Black pepper. And then a little pinch of cayenne pepper. It gets hot really quick, and I don't want it real spicy because the kids will be eating it. I just want it with a dash of heat. Now we're going to mix all this up. I'm going to let it simmer until it's done, and that will be our dinner today. And I'll let that simmer for at least 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Now, the third thing I like to do on a rainy, cloudy day is catch up on my books, is do some reading. The kids have been coloring here, so we've got that going on. But when it's cloudy like this and rainy outside, and there's not much I can do outside, I like to just go right ahead and pull out all the books of things that I've got going on. Of course, you can see right here, it's time to be thinking about the gardens. So I've got all these books pulled out. This one I just threw in for fun. And I'll be reading through these and getting ideas for planting my garden, which will be happening very soon. These are just refreshers. I read these books often, just keep myself well-rounded on what it is that I need to be doing, but I enjoy it. And then I have the Vintage Cottage book that my husband got for me for my birthday. And then, of course, he got me one here for Mother's Day, the Cottage. These are 2 different publications by the same company, I think. And, of course, these books I just love. These are right up my alley. They equate with my style. And I'm thrilled to get a new one every time these come out. And, of course, this is the winter issue. And I've been going through it quite a bit. And what I've been really excited about is the color blue is coming back. I love blue. Out of all of the hues of colors there are, blue has got to be one of the ones that I enjoy living with the most. And of course, this has just tons of ideas where blue is coming back again. And I love this magazine anyway, because it's just got such beautiful, fresh, and lovely ideas in it. Good ideas. And it's got things in it that I enjoy and that I love. And so I enjoy flipping through this catalog and getting inspiration for different things. Or this magazine. Sorry, it's not a catalog. So reading is definitely something I do when the weather is rainy. Thank you for letting me share with you the 3 things I do on a drizzly, rainy day. As you can see, my hair gets it gets a mind of its own when the weather gets humid like this. So I should add a number 4 is that I try to comb this hair and get it into shape. But I don't do a lot with my hair when it's like this. I just let it go naturally. I thank you for joining me today. And if you like this kind of thing, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and just share this with friends if you know anybody else that might be interested in this kind of thing. Thank you for joining me today. And like always, until next time.